demand today will become out of date tomorrow. This is why we create new materials and engineering developments which will change the world. Here, in the heart of Moscow, 2 kilometers away from the Kremlin, near the legendary Gorky Park, the University of Science and Technology, Am Misis, is located. University of the Future. We print components for airplanes and spacecraft on 3D printers, create treatment able to prolong human life, develop a new generation of solar batteries, manufacture artificial muscles and implants for bone replacement, seek for the dark matter, taking part in the CERN experiments, develop a quantum supercomputer, invent stealth materials, design technologies for mining on the moon. Am Misis is a university with a modern approach to education and world-renowned research schools. Students are our main value. They will change the world and determine the future of our planet. You too can write the history. Learn passionately. Explore enthusiastically. Improve comprehensively. Am Misis. Think bright.
Good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen. Wow, wow, wow. What a thrill to be here once again on this stage. And a surprise, to be sure. Well, not so much surprise. We've been planning this for like 3 months already. What I mean is that last year, I wouldn't have imagined that this event would become not only global, but also annual. So I guess it's time that we would like to welcome all of you out there to the second International Alumni Meetup of National University of Science and Technology, Misis. Please, a round of applause from those of you who are sitting in the hall. Today, we are not only joined by the alumni, but also by future graduates, students of Am Misis. And we are more than happy to share the wonderful atmosphere of this event with you. And as much as I would love to see you all who are joining us online today in person here in this hall, unfortunately, this is still impossible, but what can you do? When life gives you lemons, you make a lemonade out of it. And this is actually what today's event is all about. My name is Daniel. I will be your host for today. And here's a quick sneak peek into what's coming up next. First, we will have 2 talks from our esteemed speakers. And to make it more engaging and interactive, we made it so that you can, and definitely should, post your questions in the chat to this very YouTube broadcast. Why you would want to make something like that, do something like that. After the talks, we will have a Q&A session, which will take place somewhere around 6 p.m., where some of your questions will be answered by our guests. Second, after the Q&A session, we also planned a networking session, which will take place, after that. And it is for our registered viewers. By the way, if you haven't registered yet, you can still do so. Just follow the link in the email we sent you earlier, or just go to the Misis main page. In the event section, the link is somewhere there. I think we also posted it in the Telegram chat, so you have plenty of opportunities not to miss out on the networking session. Anyways, enough of me talking. Before we begin our meetup, I would like to invite to the stage the Director of International Affairs Office of Am Misis. So please welcome with a round of applause, Mr. Alan Thomas Moore.
Thank you very much, Daniel. It's hard to follow up on such a stylish gentleman and also with a brilliant speech as well. So thank you very, very much. I'm delighted to be here at the second, as you said, that's the most important, the second annual meetup of our international alumni, and not just. So, well, good afternoon, good evening, and I know for one person for sure who's watching, good morning. As Daniel said, my name is Alan Moore. I'm Director of the International Office, also known as UMAM, here in downtown Moscow at the National University of Science and Technology in Misis. When our team mentioned a theme, about, making lemonade out of lemons. I actually misheard it the first time, I have to say, Daniel. I did mishear it. And I thought, how can you turn lemonade back into lemons? And then I realized, well, actually, if there's one place, one university in the world that actually could make up a method or technology to do that, to turn, lemonade back into lemons or chicken nuggets back into whatever, creature that the McDonald's get their meat from, it would be here in Misis. We've had a very, very tough time with the last year, well, almost 2 years now at this stage. And some of us have lost loved ones to COVID. Others have been unable to go home to see our family members. And many of us have had our lives completely and utterly disrupted by the pandemic. Students, of course, have missed out on much of what it means to be a university student. And that is communication and gathering and shared experience. They've missed out on what makes university a really special place to be. And even though we've done that, we've had the technologies to adapt and to improve what we actually have. We're continuing to make lemonade out of the lemons that are thrown at us. At the same time as we are more connected than any other time in human history, we're also more disconnected. And that's because our technology has evolved far quicker than we as humans have been able to handle. And I say that from experience because by education, I'm an archaeologist. My alma mater in Ireland sent me to digs in Ireland, Germany, Canada, and there was one common feature in every single place. And no matter what, it was a house or what we would call a habitation, 6,000 years ago, hunter-gatherers sat in a communal area. They were making flint objects and eating hazelnuts. 3,000 years ago, Iron Age workers sat around with shared cups of something that they drank sitting around a fire. Viking longhouses, the biggest part of those, have always been the communal dining areas. And of course, in an 18th century worker's hut, the center place of the entire hut for all the family and extended family together was a fireplace where people would get warmth and, of course, eat. Our human need for contact with others and communication is what continues to drive us, both online and offline. And as quickly as we're able to grasp each new digital form of communication, such as the one we're connected with right now, we still need direct contact with those we have shared a journey with. Universities are up there with military and sports teams for having that sense of camaraderie, that we've all been in it together. We've had the same lectures. We've had to stand up, I'm speaking in Russian now. We have to get up in the morning to be in for an 8:30 lecture, or in Ireland, our earliest was 9 o'clock. But you still have to be there together, and you're just waking up, and you're then going off for coffee afterwards. So it's that shared sense, that shared bond, that really universities deliver to us. The support that we get from universities in the darkest of times normally comes not just from our professors and those who work in universities, but from our fellow students. And today, although we are unable to meet in person, we have to make of this channel the very, very best for now. As I said, we're making lemonade from lemons, given to us by a pandemic, and we are winning. We're building a bond between our graduates and Misis, and of course, very importantly, as Daniel mentioned, our current students, the ones who we are bringing through to make a career, to make a life for. The work of our Endowment Fund, for example, they gather essential financial support for student researchers, teachers and workers within the university to help the students who are here studying, those who are working here, to help the students to continue building this world-class centre of education and development. We've seen the growth and development of the International Student Council in just over 1 year, where they're now running 3 events every single week. They're helping students both non-Russian and Russian, and together growing the reputation of Misis. Last week, our international students, together with Russian students, won 2nd and 3rd place in an international competition hosted by the Ministry of Education. That's huge success in 1 single year. And from this, I just want to make 2 small points before I end off and hand back the stage to a man who I wish I had the same dress sense of. From our rector to all of us working here in Misis, we believe in the motto, student first. We believe in Misis. We do this because we are proud of our university. It's Misis above all else. We're the number 1. And we're ready to help and to develop around the world. We want to welcome new students and to assist them to develop their lives and their careers through us here in Misis. We want to help them to find their way, and often I get calls from directors of institutes or heads of catheters. I'm not going to name any names because I'll make them all shy, even though some of them are masked up right now, asking for advice, or actually giving advice on how to make our students' path here with us in Misis better. And this is our own place of communication, our own internal network, where we can rely on our other friends within the university to help us out. So we know that we're all in this together and dedicated to making Misis even better every single day. And growing our graduate and alumni network is so important, so vital to Misis as a university. For all of you who have left our home, your home here in Misis, you too need a place for support and communication where you can connect with those who also shared the journey here with you in our university. Because between our two networks, those of us working here day to day and those of you who have gone off to make huge strides in your lives, we will help the students currently studying here to be better and have better opportunities and, of course, have better channels of communication and support. The second point is the simplest, and I mentioned the International Student Council bringing together the non-Russian and Russian students here in Misis. And that's the last time I'll use those because Daniel corrected me on this, and I've been corrected by the head of our endowment fund, Gleb Uzunov, and our director of the Institute of Min, Sergei Koloshkin, and also our good friend Lilia Bondre was saying that we don't have different nationalities, we just have international. And that's true, because we are an international university. And written up here, I am Misis, and Misis is international, which means that every single student, no matter what your passport says on the cover, you're international, because we're international. All of our students, no matter where they're from, are international, because they're studying in Russia's most internationalized university. To finish up, I was asked to give a kind of a personal take or story on turning lemons into lemonade. And I've one I think that some of us here today will actually see in action. In January 2017, I had a chat with a station director here in Moscow, radio station director, and I proposed him a radio sports show. I said it's going to be vital because we have the FIFA 2017 Confederations Cup coming up soon, and of course the World Cup in 2018 coming up as well. I told him that you need to launch a show and to do something with it. In April, 3 months on, he gave me a call and said, let's go for coffee. He said they had just launched a show the previous week. He wasn't happy with it, but would I have a chat with the host? And I said, yeah, no problem at all. So I met with the host on the Friday, and I said, we can do this, and I gave him a guest list and said, good luck. Saturday morning, I got a call from the station director, said, can you come into the studio on Saturday at lunchtime? I said, yeah, no problem. I said, I'll come in as a guest. I came in, I sat down, put on my headphones, and was kind of relaxing, preparing to answer questions about sport or what have you. And then I heard, welcome to Capital Sports with Alan Moore. That I didn't have a heart attack right there and then in the studio was a miracle. And almost 5 years later, we're still on the air. So I was able to try and make lemons out of lemonade. And I learned two things that day. Lemons out of lemonade, the other way around, lemonade out of lemons. That no matter what happens, no matter how tough the situation is, wherever you are in the world, wherever you are in your life, no matter how tough things are, if you have good, hard-working, honest, loyal people beside you, you'll win. Have a strategy, you'll win. And the second thing, and this is the most important thing, is that always, always, always go to the bathroom before you go live on air. We're living through interesting times, yet together, through bonds forged here in the National University of Science and Technology, Misis, we will emerge stronger, better, and tougher. So I'd like to say thank you very much for inviting me here, to Daniel and to my colleagues here. I hope you have a wonderful time with us here today. Enjoy it. And thank you very much. And of course, a very happy Christmas and Happy New Year if we don't meet again. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Moore. This was very inspiring. And I actually agree with you because this event, today's event, is very special, at least in three things. First of all, it is truly international. Second of all, we are all making lemonade out of lemons. And thirdly, it is special because it is linked to the 10th year anniversary of the Endowment Fund of Am Misis. And it is truly an amazing organization because so many projects are brought to life by the Endowment Fund. It is truly an investment into future generations and their well-being. The fund popularizes science, technology. It supports professors, academics, and other employees of the university. It develops infrastructure. It provides scholarships and grants for students. And one of the main courses of the fund is actually building connections between the students and the alumni, which this event is all about. So, having said all that, I would like to welcome to the stage a partner of the Endowment Fund, without which we wouldn't all be here today. So please, a round of applause for the project manager of the International Industrial and Educational Partnership, Mr. Masambaka.
Thank you very much, Daniel. Once again, warm welcome to Mr. Alan Moore, our previous speaker. Thanks very much for the opening speech. There are no coincidences in life, I think, and this title of the event, Am Misis, actually struck in my mind the moment I was introduced to this concept. I started thinking about it, and momentarily some associations and internal feelings and emotions started pop up. And as it happens, I actually started working in this university 10 years ago. So there are no coincidences in life. Being here for 11 years, 10 years, and Endowment Fund being the support structure for professors and students, encapsulating the environment which represents the National University of Science and Technology, Misis, is together, to me, is a magical moment. So, starting with Am Misis, I would like to bring your attention, first of all, to the logo of our university. It represents cyclical processes in life. That's what it means to me. So there are cycles. You're coming into the university, you're going through this process, through this environment, you identify with it, then you leave and you bring back. So endowment is the key word here. Endowment in the sense of gift, in the sense of contribution, in the sense of what can we bring back together to our alma mater, our university. So, creating the future together. And we are together in this. The fund, the contributions that are made by partners, by alumni, by all people and organizations willing to support the university and the student life and environment here, contribute to material and financial support for the young scientists, those ones who are developing their skills here in our laboratories, and over 30 state-of-the-art cutting-edge laboratories in material science, metallurgy, mining, environmental sciences, and so on. Of course, for the professors, those who guide the youth, those who guide the young scientists, the inspired young people that will bring about those key changes of the future world that we are now anticipating. The results that are developed here, they have to go into the society. They have to be able to contribute to the positive changes that we are willing to see. So the commercialization aspect of the new technology is also supported by the Endowment Fund. The support structure, people that make it happen, the force of workers, administrative force, and people that create the infrastructure for innovation development also are supported by the Endowment Fund. The alumni community, events that bring us together, as the previous speaker said, we have to have that communication bond, and we have to be able to share the ideas and share the environment together so that the innovation can be born. Scholarships and grants, those who are able but financially are incapable to come into the university, come into this environment and really experience this gift, because this is a gift to society, being able to study, being able to use the equipment and getting exposed to the best ideas of the professors from our university and from our partner universities and organizations worldwide is a gift, and definitely has to be supported for those who are unable to support themselves. So Endowment Fund will enable that for sure. And of course, the communication is the key. Everything starts with the communication. Without communication, making things common. That's my understanding of it. If we make good ideas and best practices common for all the people, that means we are communicating in the right way. So endowment, once again, in my understanding, is a gift, is a contribution that is ongoing, and is a very social thing for us to share what we have got from our peers and so on. How does it work? If you want to contribute to the philosophy of endowment, then please pay attention to this structure of following the path of the student. So imagine you are a student, you come into the university, you study here, you gain all the necessary skill sets and the right exposure. You go through and you graduate, become a successful entrepreneur or a scientist, start making revenue, and you want to give back to your alma mater. What you then do is deposit some arbitrary sum of money into the fund, and the management company will then make more money on the money that you are investing. And fraction of it will go back to university to make sure that its infrastructure and its all of the aspects of the university, starting from the student, because student here is the first place and first value, through to the graduation and all of the necessary events that create the university community for us here. So, the foundation accepts the donation from individuals or legal bodies, and donation can be of any size, and a fraction of it then is used by the endowment fund to support and create the necessary events for the students and for the participants of the university. So for 1 year, the money is kept untouched, and after 1 year, fraction of that capital can be then used for our National University of Science and Technology events and infrastructure, supporting the students. And as in any bank, in any management company, we are interested in bringing the funds higher, to a higher level, so that more and more people can contribute and feel more supported by our university community. The activities are spread in various sectors. So first of all is the support for the best talent, the best contributors, student of the year, graduate of the year, those who achieve the highest, best results in their relative disciplines. Popular events, Science Slam is one of the most brightest events in our calendar, where we have our Dom Culture, which is the cultural center, the full of people, 1,500 people. Imagine 1,500 people coming not for a concert, but to hear the best science practices that come up from Am Misis. To me, it's an amazing achievement. So Endowment Fund is in support of that. Hence, all those practices that are presented can go into the environment, into society, and develop into technologies that will bring about positive changes. Christmas lectures, open lectures, sharing ideas, making sure that young people are inspired by the scientists that are developing the cutting-edge technology. Festivals, science, plus science to me is the best way to communicate with the world. How else can you learn about the world if not through science, through touching things, through understanding the way the world is made and the way it works and the way it can be changed for the better. Infrastructure, it's very important that people want to come here. You don't want to come to work or to university because you have to, but because you want to. And that has to do with infrastructure that supports communication, science, and the educational process. So fraction of the money will go for the infrastructure. We have recreational areas, museum, camps, all sorts of events outside the extracurricular activities. Young scientists, we have to be able to make their ideas to come to life. So supporting structure is there for you through the Endowment Fund. The graduates, through the festivals and such events as Am Misis. So when you say Am Misis, what do you mean? To me, again, once look at the our logo. The cyclicity. You come in, you leave, but then you come back. You come back with something that you've gained. You come back with something that you've learned to make that cycle better for the ones that are coming after you. It's a philosophy that I think we have to share with the world through the endowment concept. Because to me, it's not just contributing the money and reinvesting it, but it's a whole philosophy. Coming in, leaving, and then contributing back. And of course, cultural events. We are all human beings. We have to be socializing. So social, cultural impact is key for not only science, but for the environmental development. And through this university, I participated in one event called Island 1022 with my friend here, Director of Endowment Fund, Gleb Uzumov, where we learned this term called density of human capital. Density of human capital means that the more people you have from different backgrounds, social, cultural, different countries in one spot, the more likely there is to be an innovation or breakthrough which will then bring about the positive change. And I think our university has the best chance to be world point of highest density of human capital. So the reality is such that the educational sector is only going to grow. So this is no longer a privilege as it was before, where you can come to university and get your education and set yourself for life. This is becoming a global trend that the educational sector is spreading not only through various social layers, but through age groups. And we are entering into an age where you are continually educating. And in our university is one of the very few universities in Russia that has an Institute of Lifelong Learning. That means you are continually upgrading and improving your skill sets. To me, it's the reflective of the logo that we have. You are in a continuous cycle of improvement. It is intact with the philosophy of endowment, that you obtaining something, you're going through that process, and then you're contributing back. And the cyclicity of the world, we are all in one spot here, in one planet. We are living together, so we have to contribute. So Am Misis and Endowment Fund are at the forefront of the social development through its engagement with the scientific community, with the student community, with industrial communities, and with the social community. So welcome, and thank you very much for contributing.
Thank you so much, Masamba. I do agree with you about the circularity of today's world and of what we do contribute to the world. Well, we started this event a year ago and now we are back. So this all wouldn't be possible without the help of the Endowment Fund. So thank you to the Endowment Fund team as well. All right, dear audience, now you can sit back, relax, as we welcome our first presenter to the stage. I remind you that you can and definitely should post your questions in the chat for this YouTube broadcast. Most of your questions will be answered during the Q&A session. Now, please welcome Supply Chain Director at the high technological leading global beauty company, L'Oréal, Andrew Tachonov.
Hello, colleagues. And first of all, I would like to say thank you all for the opportunity to be here with you and to talk about such actual topics, I would say, about the wins, about the fails and mistakes in work and career. And what is more important, what it gives us. I would like to start with a small introduction about myself. As you already heard, my name is Andrew Tachonov. I'm 37 years old. I'm supply chain director responsible for the Luxe division in L'Oréal. By my education, I am a civil lawyer, but almost 15 years I'm working in supply chain management in international companies of USA and Europe, in P&G, Duracell, and L'Oréal. I have hobbies. This is motorbikes, snowmobile, aerial photography and video, and spending time together with my son, 8 years old. And today I would like actually to talk with you about 3 things. Current business challenges that we are facing. What does it mean for us? And how to survive and succeed in this environment. First of all, I would like to put you into the context of today's business challenges, especially behind our company. Main thing that there is no stability anymore. If 30 years ago we potentially knew that we will finish school, graduate university, get a job, and spend there almost the whole life, or we will devote to this some specific profession for the whole life as well. It is changed. Every year, new professions are popping up. And at the same time, other professions are disappearing. The world is changing. Business area is also significantly changing every year. And in reality, no one knows how it will look like in 5 to 10 years. In our business, focus areas and priorities are changing. New business models, new distribution channels like e-com, which is booming from year to year. And even 10 years ago, I recall one of the aims of supply chain was to produce a big batch of the product with the low variety of the SKUs. Right now, demand is changed and we need to produce everything at one shot. But at the same time, cost pressure is still existing. Also, we need to keep in mind sustainability, environment, and the green projects which are coming into our life. And I would say that all business community who are responsible and each individuals who are responsible should think and act right now in order to minimize negative impact on the Mother Nature. By the way, L'Oréal is doing significant efforts in order to reduce impact and the influence on the nature. We have a specific and tough KPIs almost for each employees. and strong and solid plans to reach our sustainability goals. COVID-19 is also playing significant role and significantly changed our life and work. And the overall future is completely uncertain. Who knows, maybe we'll see technological singularity soon. But what in reality does mean for us? For us, it is mean that in overall all the things that I just described leads to the global uncertainty in which we need to survive and ideally to succeed. So what uncertainty is? This is when we do not have enough data, when we do not understand the vector of development. All this now or later leads us to wrong assumptions, decisions, actions and results, but from one side. From other side, it is giving us motivation to develop our skills, search for new solutions and in overall move. For today, I would say one of the most important things is scenario planning, which is helping us to survive in the current environment and be successful. Scenario planning will not secure from the faults, but it will help us to see the different way how situation can go and can help us to make the right decisions. For example, back in spring 2020, when it was just a start of pandemic, we received the information from our key customers that they would like to purchase a significant amount of our products. We built several scenarios. Based on them, we identified that actually we can take this risk and we placed the order for production and delivery. We're starting to receive these goods, and what is happened, I think everyone knows. In 2 weeks from that moment, all offline trade was closed. We end up with the huge amount of product at our warehouse, and by the way, it is 100 million rubles. For us, from one side, it was a significant loss because we have huge bills from the transportational companies, and in overall our operational cost increased significantly. But from other side, it gave us a new opportunity, because right after first lockdown, we were able to start fast. We were able to deliver high level of service to our customers because we had this overstock. We were able to support bounce back programs from the marketing team. And in the end, we win additional market shares. So what is really important in today's world? Agility. Ability for fast changes to meet new needs. Ability to accept them. And ability to navigate in uncertainty. But how to reach this? One of the key factors, maybe you will be surprised, but sitting inside us. And this is self-awareness. Ability to understand yourself, your feeling, your emotions, your aspirations. Ability to analyze correlation between happens and result. Ability to see what is influencing us. Self-awareness gives us confidence, better understanding of what is happening inside and outside us. And most important, it is giving us ability to learn from our and others' faults. By the way, for operations department, which I'm representing now, the topic of faults and fails, unfortunately, is very common. Because every day we are facing some different issues across all supply chain. From raw and pack material suppliers in foreign countries, to our customers and consumers who are very demanding. Every day we are identifying weak points of supply chain, and we are using several principles which is helping us to work with this. First of all is root cause analysis. Each time we deeply analyzing what is going on and why this or that incident happens. Following the second rule, continuous improvement, we are identifying how we can improve the situation and how we can avoid continuation of these issues. So every day we are working with some issues and faults, but for us that means that we able to improve our processes, improve our systems, and in the end win. For example, on each plant, manufacturing sites, we have a quite long list of different metrics of effectiveness and quality. But anyway, from time to time, something can happen with the equipment, with the raw impact materials, with everything. And if something happening, our engineers are spending enough time for proper root cause analysis. They identifying again these weak points, they adjusting the system, adjusting the production lines, and in the end, they increasing efficiency and the quality of the product. And that means that we can say that these faults and results of this analysis and continuous improvement is helping us to move with the progress. So in L'Oréal, we also have such rule called test and learn. This is on corporate level, we accepting possibility to make mistakes, to try and learn. We also have an annual employee survey with the question, in my team, it is acceptable to make mistake as long as we learn from it. Meaning, we accept rights of each individual to make mistake. And we have, by the way, very high score in this area. So our employees are not afraid to test hypotheses, try new instruments, approaches and methods. We all have a rights for mistake as long as we learn from them. And in the results, we are moving forward and winning leading positions in beauty all over the world. In reality, faults and fails are with us during whole life. But thanks to developing self-awareness, we can deal with this. We can learn from our experience, from experience of others. And as it was mentioned long time ago by Alexander Sergeyevich Pushkin, experience is the son of hard faults. So don't be afraid of the faults and fails. Try, learn, and self-awareness will help you in this. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tachonov. It is very interesting to know how huge international companies face the challenges that the now ever-changing world brings to them. This was awesome. Dear viewers, we remind you that you can still post your questions in the YouTube broadcast chat, and some of them will be answered during the Q&A session, which will come afterwards. But now, please welcome on the stage our next inspiring speaker, founder and CEO of CIU System Company, Russian and CIS market leader in providing advanced 3D printing technologies, solutions for industries. Please welcome Ms. Ashken Ovsepyan.
Hi, thank you very much for inviting me. I'll try to share our experience, how we overcome lemons and try to make lemonade out of that and try to make it as delicious as possible every time. So actually talking about myself, from the very early childhood, I think I was always crazy inspired by technologies, and I kind of always seen myself over there. And somehow also was very much in love with doing business, and that was kind of my idea. And at certain point, I also realized that one of the most beautiful things in the world is the world itself, the diversity and being and feeling international. That's why I always wanted to do a business worldwide. And we started a business when I graduated university in 2009. And in some time, we fell in love with 3D. And in 2013, we started to work on Russian 3D market as one of the resellers. And slowly, we started to grow and grow and grow. And today, our company is a market leader here locally, as well as recently we started our expansion on the global markets. And since last year, we also work in the States. I hope there is yet a lot to come. And now about lemons. Actually, I didn't like lemons at all when we just started, and I think I was taking them too serious. So, long short, I am a very shy person by definition, and everything was an effort for me. For example, when I was studying at school, I was doing, one of my sports was swimming. We can actually switch on the video, so as soon as there is something moving on the background and there is some story of our company, I can continue my story. And mute it, please. Thank you. So I loved swimming, but every time we had a competition on Friday, and for me it was a huge stress because I was scared and I always thought that I need to have a wonderful result, so it was quite tough. And then I entered the university and I was studying at 2 faculties at once. So every semester I had around 13 exams by the end of semester. And it was also tough. And then kind of complicated, so stressful. So lemons. And then at certain point, when we started to do business, I realized that actually this from time to time lemons in business are every other day. So like every other meeting or every something, it's a lemon. And it's not lemon itself, it's my brain which thinks that it's kind of a complicated story. And then I realized that actually the most important thing is to change the mindset. So as soon as I started to understand that lemon is not a problem but is an opportunity, and I need to think about it as a game, the scenery changed completely. And then you understand that every time you are questioned, it's a challenge. And if you have a challenge, and if you consider it as a beautiful game, then you always can try to bring an interesting result or overcome yourself, and every time you will have something beautiful as a result. So slowly, we started to grow. By the way, now we are over 50 people. Of course, every other day we had some challenges, lemons, and we had to do lemonade out of that. So, for example, at certain point, we fell in love with industrial applications in 3D, and we started to implement and integrate technologies to Russian largest enterprises. And as soon as these are state companies, it's always kind of a mess. So bureaucracy and technology, and there are many problems. And at the beginning, if you take it like way too serious in a negative way, then you have problems every time. But if you overcome, then from this problem, you will have your biggest customer, the most beautiful deal, the most beautiful success story, and then you will have a very long-term relationship. As a first example. As a second example, at a certain point, we realized that we want to grow internationally. And we were not smart enough to understand at once, and this was our lemon, that wherever we want to grow, we need to make sure that we need to belong culturally, ethically, and we need to spend significant time over there. And we need to be open to adjust to that reality. So we actually had several attempts, and we had businesses in Western Europe, in Turkey, and out of those lemons, I think we had like not super delicious lemonade, but we learned a lot. And since last year, we started to work in the States, which is a completely different market, and it's amazingly delicious lemonade, although like you have a lot to think and live with. And then you, from time to time, you learn, and you have many, many, many lemons, you make lemonade, and then you actually understand that the biggest thing that you need to learn, that your lemons are a reflection of yourself. So actually our organization is a reflection of people working in this organization. So if we have some problems which we are not fixing ourselves, we will have these lemons all the time. This means that if we learn and if we overcome our own mistakes, we will not face the same story again. And there is an opportunity that we will have a very beautiful lemonade sitting on the beach on the Caribbean, for example, instead of having lemons all the time. So this is about statistics. And I think that it's very important to understand and to meet your own, let's say, brain and heart at certain point to make sure that the story is yours and that everything works nicely. This year was very, very challenging for us because for me personally, this was the first time when I left my team in Moscow for a very long time and was setting up a business in the States. And oh my God, how many lemons we had in both areas. The source of lemons was different, but too many. And I think that one of the biggest tips we need to know is that we need to try to keep the number of lemons low, because we need to overcome them, we need to atomize the situation. So we need to cut those lemons, try to understand how we can go, let's say, one day at a time, to fix this story. So my biggest recommendation would be to try to keep the number of lemons low enough. If you cannot have it, and we had this kind of situation as well, I think you just need to stay very optimistic and know that there is always tomorrow. And when we are talking about, for example, TV series, every time at the end of the episode, we see a crazy story where like the world is crushing. And another 3 seconds and you think that the life is over. And then there is another episode coming. And during the first 20 seconds of the new episode, everything is perfectly fixed. And then the life is beautiful again. So I think that if there is no chance to avoid those lemons at a certain point, we just need to know that there is an always beautiful tomorrow, and then we will have it. So I think very personal thought and the way I live, I think that it's always about balance and harmony. And either this is lemon or lemonade. We always will try to make lemonade out of it. But if we keep balanced our heart and our brain, and if we try to stay open-hearted and open-minded, and if we live inspired by what we do, love what we do, switch on our brain, and work on everything and try to be as efficient as possible, we will always perform well. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Ovsepian. This was marvelous. Because, just imagine how many lemons does the technological industry have, and how much lemonade will we have in 10 years. Now I'm kind of regretting that I'm not into science and technology as much as I could have been. But, well, what can you do? Now, ladies and gentlemen, this wraps up our today's presentations, but there is more to come. Take a little break, as in 5 minutes we will begin our Q&A session. And after the Q&A session, we will have a networking session, the link to which you can find in the Telegram chat or in the email that you received earlier. So, 5 minutes. See you soon. Well, dear audience, cheers to those of you who posted your questions in the YouTube chat. Your most interesting questions will be answered right now as we welcome our dear speakers on the stage once again. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Ashkan, for coming today here in this hall. We are, like me personally, I'm delighted to be here again after a year of a huge little pause. So, to the questions, I guess. May I ask the first question? Okay, so I remember you talking about the problems and the challenges that your companies face, that you personally may face. I remember my granddad, who sadly passed away 3 years ago. He had a very specific thoughts about the problems themselves. He didn't see them as problems, but as, again, challenges or opportunities. He never even said the word problem. I don't have a problem. I only have a challenge or an opportunity or a task of some sort. So my question is, how do you feel about the problems as a word, as a meaning?
Absolutely the same way. I'm absolutely sure that, problem is also maybe a beautiful word, so we don't need to ignore it completely. But for me, wherever we say problem, there is a room to grow, actually. And it's kind of an emphasizing that we can do something here. So there is always room for finding a new opportunity and growth. And as we say in an anecdote, whatever can be covered by money, it's not a problem, it's an expense. So we can avoid word problem at all, I think.
That is true. I agree with you. Andrew, what about you?
Yeah, and the interesting thing that actually in the companies in which I was working till today, I would say that no one actually using word problem. And usually we are saying issues, we have issue here and there. So we're trying to avoid this, again, I think in the same way, so because in reality it is the opportunity. And this is what is helping us to move forward. So we should not treat it as strategy or something like this. It's just some, I don't know, something which is helping us to make something better, and us as well.
This is true. I agree with you. Thank you. Thank you both for answering these questions. Well, the first question we have is for Andrew. The person in the YouTube chat asks, what specialist in L'Oreal company is searching for now? I guess it's a hiring HR question, if there are any.
And searching for what?
Specialists. I mean, maybe there are some open positions.
Whom we're looking for, I mean.
Who we're looking, who are you looking for? Yeah.
Okay. Well, we have a list of the open vacancies on Headhunter, for example, or on our website. For instance, in my team, I'm looking right now for a supply planner. So if someone is interested in this position, please welcome, apply your CV, and we are open and in active search. So all the information actually available online right now. The criteria is also placed there. We are quite flexible here because actually we are looking for young, ambitious people with ideally with some experience, but it is more important how the person identifying him or herself. I mean, he or she should be active, should be a leader, should be with the developed soft skills and hard skills, and this will help.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. So basically, you're saying that Misis students have a slight chance of coming into L'Oreal, right?
Not slightly. Everyone has this chance, and actually, I'm forcing everyone to apply. Why not to try?
That's true. Okay, thank you. Ashkan, the next question is for you. How did you understand that this sphere of 3D modeling will be popular in future?
Actually, first of all, it was, of course, you feel the trend. But for me, the most important is we are in 3D for around 10 years. And every other day we are inspired the way we were inspired the very first day when we saw how technology started for us, at least. And I think that is the key for us while we are still in 3D. But when we are talking about trends, imagine the world among us. It's not actually that perfect. You can improve every other step, every other piece of whatever you see. And 3D printing is one of the best tools to improve it because you have complete freedom of geometry and big variety of materials. So actually, 3D printer is kind of a robot which can produce whatever you ask him to produce, which means that this industry will become and will stay inspiring as much as we convert our brain to think from 2D to 3D. So actually, it's always about people. And if we can, do this breakthrough, then 3D will always be super trendy.
This is actually very inspiring because I think the technology here is limitless. I remember hearing about a scholar, a researcher who developed something like of a Band-Aid, which is 3D printed with the stem cells of the person who will receive the Band-Aid, and it heals completely any of the bruises or something like a really harsh injury. So basically, 3D printing is the future.
Yeah, I also agree. And again, it's not 3D printing is a future. 3D printer is a tool. Like
it's a tool,
we are,
yeah. To achieve, maybe,
it's all
yeah.
about people, yeah. But
Yep.
yes, 3D printing can help us to see a brighter future and more customized. So like if I like this, I can make it the very same way I like it. If you like it the other way, you can make it the way you like it. So we will have more diverse and more interesting world.
Yeah, this is true. Okay, thank you. Next question is for you, Andrew. Could you please tell us more of your personal experience? I mean, some examples of your failures, maybe, and how you made the lemonade out of your lemons.
Yeah, interesting question. So, about a personal. I can give an example, and actually today in the morning I was thinking about this, and actually there are a lot of examples, and one was just, I would say, a recent. I would not say in which company it was, but still. So I joined the new team as a manager, and then we were managing one of the projects. And it was a time when I should present like results of the project to the board team, to general manager, to everyone. And we were working on presentation. And actually at some moment I decided that actually the program manager can build this presentation. I will show in this it. So I was thinking in that way previously. He prepared the presentation. I look like, okay, it is working, everything is presented, it is fine. I showed this on the board. Everyone understood everything, the status and so on. I thought that everything went well, but afterwards, general manager came back to me with the feedback and told, like, Andrew, the presentation was completely unpretty, unsexy, and it is not the style that should be. It is not that level. And I catch myself that actually I realized this earlier when I saw the first draft of this presentation, that maybe it should be in a different way. But at that moment I decided that I will not spend the time on this. So it's just like a small thing which helped me, and thanks to Jem as well, who gave me this feedback. And right now I treat the presentation in a different way. And also when it is again for me the question of a self-awareness. When you see something which is popping up in your mind, you should catch it and work with this. And this will help to avoid such situation, because well, it was expected. But if I would treat in another way this topic, then I would not be in this situation.
This is true. I remember, I think we can all learn on our mistakes, and we definitely should. I remember I was organizing an event in Novosibirsk, and which is like 4 hours of our difference, and the company that was supposed to deliver water to the event They kept calling me at like 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. Moscow time, trying to tell me that they couldn't reach me. I sent all the numbers of my colleagues who were there at that moment, but they, well, didn't answer as well. So I woke up, I tried to call them to, give them directions, how to get to the event hall and all that stuff. But after that, I remember like me being very precise about the timings, about the telephone numbers and all of that stuff when I prepare future events. So we all learn in our mistakes. Okay, Ashkan, next question is for you. First of all, the person asking the question is thanking you for your inspiring speech. Could you tell us if your company works in other countries or only in Russia?
We work, so it's Russia and former Soviet.
Mm-hmm.
And from end of last year, we started to work in the States.
In the States? With the States or in the States?
In the States.
Oh, wow.
With the States. Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that, if it's not so confidential?
I don't think that it is a confidential. So actually, it was also kind of my dream because the technology came from the States, and they have all the recent developments, and the integration of the technology over there is much faster due to the different reasons, actually. And I don't want to underestimate whatever is happening here because Russia is a fantastic country, and the way we consume the technology here is also like truly, truly amazing. And the projects we do here, like they really keep inspiring us every day. But in the States, the size of the market is significantly different. And we always wanted to try ourselves, like to kind of take this challenge to work in the more competitive market. And I personally also was always very inspired by aerospace. And I think like the companies like SpaceX, they always are somewhere over there. That's why we had some products in our portfolio in Russia where we were performing well by selling and using those solutions. And we took those contracts to the States. So currently, the company over there is located actually like kind of 10 minutes drive from the SpaceX and like relevant companies' facilities. It's a very tech area, and we are doing similar thing what we do here. And it's an amazing experience because it's so different, the way the market reacts, the way we need to talk to customer, the way we need to support and service the customer. And there is always constant process, like for both regions. But for me, the most delicious part is that the way the technology is consumed in both regions is very different. And if we find a way to find a synergy between that and any kind of experience exchange, because like our countries are a little
tense.
So
a little tense.
so similar that they are too sensitive. That's why if there is an opportunity to do this exchange, that would be just amazing because we will see completely different landscape.
Well, I hope that future generations will solve this, not problem, but a challenge, right?
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Andrew, the next question is for you. Could you please tell us how your background in law can help you in a supply chain career?
A good question, thank you. Well, I would say that background in law and following and by education, it is helping, I would say, in every aspects of the life. Because more or less we are touching the questions of the law everywhere, in daily life, in work and so on. If we're talking about specifically supply chain management, we have, for example, I don't know, import operations that are hardly connected with the law, with the authorities, how to read exact law, how to treat it, yeah, because it's a different question how to read and treat. Another example is mandatory labeling, the huge project on which we are working in perfumery right now for 1 year, and this project was hardly connected with the authorities, with the regulations, so all my background is helping to identify the right things from the law, which is regulating this or that question. And anyway, it is, it is helping to find the right information and to treat it in the right way. So yes, I'm working not according to education, and I have different experience working in the court, in government, in marketing, in small Russian companies, but I found myself in huge corporations where I feel myself in the best way, where I can give the best of my knowledge and experience. So I would say that actually it doesn't matter in the end what education you have. I mean, and this is what I was talking about in my presentation. All the professions, they are changing. New are coming up, other disappearing. So it depends on how the person understands what he or she like. And there is no any limits to join any company except, I don't know, a medical or something like this, where you still have to have proper level of education and some specifics. But the common things with this office work or design or something like this, everything is open, and we should not limit ourselves in terms of the education and desired job.
Yeah, that's true. I agree with you, because sometimes it can be limiting. Like if you chose an education and you follow this path, sometimes the doors can be closed for you. But well, for my case, it's not true at all. It just depends on what you want and what you want to achieve.
Exactly.
Yep.
If you wish, if you strongly wish and feel that it is yours, you will get it.
Yep, everything may be possible. Okay, thank you. The next question, I think it will be one of the last questions we have for today, is for Ashken, and this is a complex one, I think. How do you see the future of additive manufacturing of 3D? This is a part of a really big question I'm trying to... Yeah, especially in sensitive areas like aerospace, military, medical, etc. Is it reliable enough?
Oh, it's more than reliable. Actually, let's... again, this is a way to produce part, yeah? And this is one of the ways. We have casting, we have milling, we have 3D printing, for example. First two are called conventional technologies, and this is like innovative technology. The difference is the way we produce the part. So in milling, we take the bulk material and then we mill out of it. Yeah, and we have kind of a lot of problems with that so far now already, because we have a lot of waste. And we cannot dig inside too far, so we have geometry limitations, which means that when we use this part, we will also be limited in application. So, for example, when we take this part and use it in airspace, where we have very complex parts, then we need to take not this part, but we need to make many small parts and then assemble them. And only use, like having that, we can have complex geometry inside. 3D printing lets you do that at once. But at the same time, you have perfect mechanical properties of the part, which means that actually the only stop factor for implementing the technology is the price of the technology itself, because the printers are not that cheap so far, and the 3D printing materials. But actually, we also start to see the balance, because CNC machines are also not super cheap, and material is slowly going cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. And more technology is evolving, the quality is going higher, and then we can implement
and the price lower, right?
And the price lower, and then we can implement it to every industry. To be very precise, when we are talking about metal 3D printing, it's not worse, it's even better than conventional manufacturing in terms of the properties of the parts.
Oh wow!
So it's a very
already.
Yeah, so it can be fully implemented. But I am not, recommending to take a 3D printer and now try to print everything. It's not reasonable. We need to be reasonable, and we need to understand that here we need to use this technology, and here we need to use that technology. And not to forget that 3D printer is a tool, again, which gives us a lot of opportunities. So, for example, the sole of my sneaker is 3D printed, which means that it can be fully customized, which means that if I 3D scan my feet and then print out the sole, I will be able to run faster, because it is taking into, let's say, analysis my anatomical specialties of the body.
This would be wonderful.
Yeah, and it is already there. People from sport, they already use all the customized things. And the insoles, they are printed already in many, many countries, including Russia. So it's actually here. Of course, there should be some more time to implement it properly. But again, it's all about people. So for example, if there are more companies who are ambassadoring 3D printing, then this will be implemented faster. If less companies, then we will enjoy the process for quite a long time.
Okay.
So the technology is here. We don't need to wait. Yeah.
This is great. I mean, I should research a little bit more about that, because these shoes, they can be very, very uncomfortable to wear. So I will research into these things that you put into them. Okay, thank you so much. This was beyond educational. And I guess that lemons are not that sour if you think about them and if you know how to use them. Moving on, ladies and gentlemen, it's almost time that we have our networking session. Don't you worry, you'll have some time for taking a rest. A few words about the session. There will be 5 digital rooms on 5 different topics. We posted a link to the Zoom conference in the Telegram chat, so feel free to join. I hope you'll have a great time. Well, I feel like my time babbling here on the stage is coming to an end. It was a great pleasure being here once again. Who knew that one idea from the alumni of the Communications and International Public Relations program would become the inspiration for current students to create a large-scale event which would become the inspiration, which is aimed to engage graduates and alumni and students and build strong communities. We'd like to thank our renowned speakers, Misis staff, and the production team, which is sitting somewhere around there. You are the best. And we would also like to thank again the Endowment Fund of Am Misis for that opportunity, and congratulate the fund's team on the 10th anniversary. We invite you, dear audience, to participate in donations to the fund to invest in such projects and events like this one and others. Also, follow Am Misis and Endowment Fund official pages on Facebook and on Instagram. And of course, big shout out to you, dear viewers, because again, without you, this event wouldn't be possible. We hope you liked Am Misis as much as we did. Stay tuned to our official pages on Facebook and Telegram, and don't miss out on the networking session. Now, take a little break, grab a snack or a lemonade, and come back in 10 minutes as we begin our networking session. It was a pleasure being your host. Thank you. See you soon.